Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I just finished training, and despite the fact that this is my 10th day of low carbs, and tomorrow's my first carb up, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, I got surprisingly good numbers, and I was quite happy with my workout. I didn't pull today because I set a deadlift PR earlier this week on deficit deadlifts, and again, 10 days of no carbs. I didn't feel like doing deadlifting today, but I did everything else. I ended up getting, with 180 kilos on beltless pause squats, I got 7 sets of 3. And mind you, I'm doing those high bar and astagraphs. And then on my closed grip bench press, I got 125 kilos for 7 sets of 3. And those were all paused for a 1 count on the chest. So overall, I was pretty happy with that, particularly considering the carb depletion and that I'm down 14 pounds in 10 days and still hitting pretty good numbers. Strength is slowly going up on my volume work. And tomorrow is my carb up. And so let's talk about that for a little bit. And this is kind of a metabolic trick. And this is something when I've talked to you guys about, if you're going to recomposition, this is a worthwhile trick to use. And this is something Lyle McDonald has written about. It's pretty well established in the research. It's established with working with athletes and physique type competitors, that when you're running a relatively large calorie deficit, particularly if your carbs are low, or relatively low, doesn't matter if you're in ketosis or just on relatively low carbs overall, when you get glycogen depleted for at least several days and you do a high carb refeed, even if you eat a very large calorie surplus, and by large calorie surplus I mean 1,000 or 2,000 calories over your maintenance that day, your body will store none of those carbs as fat. Now, normally carb overfeeding for several days will induce de novo lipogenesis eventually, but a single day, it doesn't happen at all. It seems to happen at 0 rate. And in fact, your body will continue to burn fat. As long as you keep your dietary fat well below the amount of fat calories that your body needs to work with that day, you won't gain any body fat, even on that very, very large surplus. Now, people want to talk about metabolic benefits. Remember, your metabolism doesn't slow down very much from hormones. It's a bit of a myth. Now, this can help keep that few percent from going down, but the main thing you're looking for is that it creates a very anabolic environment for a day or two so that you can gain a little bit of muscle, or at least regain what you've lost, if not gain a little bit of muscle from the calorie deficit. And for guys like me who are not quite so YouTube natty, this can create a very solid recomposition effect. Now, you can recomp this way also, and again, if you guys look at stuff Lyle has put out on his Ultimate Diet 2.0, he has people recomposition using alternating calorie deficits with massive high carb refeeds. Now, the thing is, if you're going to do something like this, you have to keep the dietary fat very low, because any dietary fat that you consume beyond what your body is burning for fuel, all those carbs are going to force you to store it. So you'll gain fat if you eat a lot of fat. But if you keep the fat low, you will not gain any fat. You will only gain muscle and muscle glycogen. It will replenish glycogen stores, which will help keep your performance up, and that's what you're looking for. And in my case, I will only be doing 1 carb day a week. I've gone 10 days to get started, then I'll do my first refeed on Saturday, and then I will do a refeed every Saturday like this, probably until I get down to the body weight that I want to be at, which I'm not sure how long that'll take me. I'm going to assess in about 6 weeks and see where I'm at, and to decide how much further I want to cut and what I want to do with my diet from there going into nationals. But for now, I'm gaining strength doing this, and I think what will happen is, for me, after that big refeed, I should see a surge in performance, and hopefully I can come in Sunday and hit some PRs. And that's the whole idea behind it. You can do this, and it's essentially a metabolic cheat. It allows you to eat a very large calorie surplus to boost performance and boost the anabolic effect without gaining any body fat. And yes, it does bypass the traditional calories in, calories out, but only for a very short window. And you have to know how to manipulate it correctly. And the main thing is being depleted enough. If you're not fully depleted, it's not going to work. You're running a 200 or 300 calorie deficit for the week, and you go and do something like this, it's not going to work quite the way that you think it is. You need a relatively large surplus, probably a minimum of 500 calories, and even that can be pushing it. But for people running 1,000 calorie deficits, this will work very, very well. And people running actually 1,000 calorie deficits can get away with this for a couple days in a row, and you will still lose fat for the week. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.